Hello everybody, welcome or welcome back. Today I am gonna, oh, the sun just came out. The lighting's getting better. Fantastic. Today I am gonna be doing my June wrap up and I think my July TBR. I haven't decided how I'm gonna do my TBR yet because last month for June I didn't have a TBR and I think I read the most books that I've read this year. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I don't know what I'm going to do about a TBR yet because nothing's like pulling me, so I'm thinking maybe like a prompt situation. We'll see. You'll find out by the end of this video. My June wrap up to start. Before I do that though, you can see what I'm wearing. My Eras Tour t-shirt. I went to the Eras Tour this weekend. Or last weekend. Yeah, I went to the Eras Tour this weekend. Wembley Night 3 was my show. The luck that I have with concerts is actually, me and my bestie, the luck that me and my bestie have with concerts is unfathomable. We were at Wembley Night 1 for Harry, like the most iconic Harry style show you could think of. Watching that back, part of me is thinking, maybe it's got nothing to do with me and it's got more to do with the fact that Wembley's like a really iconic venue and they're just like very excited to be doing it, so it's like really good energy. But like there's been multiple, like out of the 3 shows that she did at Wembley, Night 3 was sorry, and also the Harry Styles one, he did another concert the next night and my one was way better, and I know it was because my bestie went to both of them and she was like, first night was the most iconic night, and that concert is like revered, like the Sign of the Times in the Rain, the one he tweeted about. Okay, no, she's right, it's me. And I was at Wembley Night 3 for Taylor, which I feel like is going to go down as such an iconic show. What did we get? We got her bringing out Gracie Abrams to sing her new song, which I'm not the biggest Gracie Abrams fan, but I was so excited anyway because I knew there's so many people in this room that this is like making their life, like this is making, I know that there's so many people in here who love Gracie and that this is like the biggest deal ever, so I felt good about it. We got for surprise song on the piano, we got, what did we get? Out of the Woods, Is It Over Now? Is it over now? Is it over now? And Clean mashup. When she started playing Clean, the scream I scramped, you will not believe. Like I was in disbelief when I heard the rain, disbelief. And then to top it all off, she rang her boyfriend onto the stage, Travis Kelce, onto the stage. I was not okay. I was absolutely not okay. The best thing I've ever seen, the best 3 hours of my life went so fast. That 3-hour concert went so fast. Watch a 5-hour concert from her. Oh my god, it was unbelievable. And before we even went to the show, I was saying to my friend, I was like, I feel like some of these songs could have been changed out for different songs. Like some of these really popular ones, like I Knew You Were Trouble, Shake It Off, like all of these big songs, these could have been changed out for like better songs that I would have preferred, but like I get why they have to use those songs. Shake It Off was the best song. Like I had the most fun to Shake It Off, like whatever, but it was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I feel so lucky that I got to go. I'm going again in August and I feel so lucky that I get to go again as well, because the whole time I was like, thank god I'm gonna get to see this again. Like if this was the only time I was gonna see this, I'd be so upset. I'm so lucky, thank god. That's that on that. I'm gonna get into my June reads. I'm looking at my first one and I have no clue when I read this. This feels like a million years ago, so I don't even know what I'm gonna say about it, but I read Clockwork Prince at the start of the month. Apparently I have memory of reading it. I remember reading it, but it feels like a million years ago, so weird. From what I remember, this took me a little bit of time to get into, like more than I would have liked it to take to get into. Probably like I didn't really love it until the last like 200 pages, and it's like 500 pages, so that's like over half of the book, which is kind of but the ending got pretty good, if I'm remembering correctly, and the romance, like love triangle, has hit a point in this book where I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do in the next book? I have no idea. I'm scared. Like, I don't want to see these people get hurt because I really love all of these characters, and I don't know where we're gonna go. With love triangles, a lot of the time it's like, you know who she really wants to be with. It's like silly almost, and you're just being like ridiculous, like just put that guy out of his misery. This feels different. Like, I feel like you obviously know who she wants to be with, but it's just different. She can't just like, it's just different. So yeah, I liked it a lot. I think I rated it like a 4 or 4.25. Probably more of a 4 since it took me so long to get into. I like this series, but it's not like blowing me away. But I am going to definitely finish it. After I read that, I wanted something a little bit different rather than going into like another fantasy situation. So I read Caught Up by Liz Tomford on my Kindle. I've got new Kindle stickers on there, so cute. Going into it, I was kind of like, I don't think I'm going to like this that much. I feel like it's too long, first off, and I just haven't enjoyed a romance like that in so long. And I keep saying that, and I don't know exactly what I mean, because like, obviously like an Abby Jimenez just for the summer, Ali Hazelwood, like I have enjoyed those, but I haven't enjoyed like a Lauren Asher book, or like a, you know what I mean, like those kind of romances, like adult romances, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying, but I feel like you get what I'm saying, like the interconnected standalone of it all. But this one I actually really quite liked. I think I rated it a 4.25 or a 4.5. I can't remember the names because it was so long ago, but it's about, I think his name's Kai. So this baseball player who's a single father, newly single father, and he needs a nanny, and he keeps firing his nannies because he's like, no, you're not doing a good enough job. He's very protective, and he's like it's very important to him to like spend as much time as he can with his kid. Like, he kind of is like on the verge of like, I kind of just want to like quit and be just your dad, like a single dad situation, and that had be my full-time situation. The whole team doesn't want him to do that, specifically the manager, captain, whatever it's called. So he has his daughter, his boss has his daughter nanny for him, so she can like be around, spend time with him, and then also like look after the kid. She is also like this incredible pastry chef, renowned in the world of like cooking and shit, like got a bunch of awards, and it's like crazy because she's so young, and she goes to restaurants and like improves their dessert menu. But she's just feeling uninspired, so she needs like the summer off, and that's what she's doing with her summer off, looking after this guy's kid. That explanation felt really long-winded, I'm sorry about that, but I loved the start of it. Like, the first half was so good, like 5-star material, the first half. Just the sweetest moments. I loved the kid, like the interactions between I can't remember her name, but the nanny and like the kid, and then the dad and the kid, and them with the kid, and them together, and just all that. It fell off a little bit when like romance, not even romance, just like the spicy scenes, when that entered, fell off a little bit for me, because it just was like, it just wasn't as good. That aspect was not as good as just like the sweet, innocent, cute, like first like meeting each other and like, do I like you, like it wasn't as good, and it wasn't, and that's fine. And also her reason for like the third act conflict, didn't like it, really didn't like it. It was just one of those stupid things when it's like, in real life you wouldn't give up, you wouldn't do that, you would figure out another way to make it work, and it wouldn't even be that hard. I need to slow down and like pronounce my words correctly because I just talk over. Okay, after Caught Up, I picked up Flamefall. This is the second book in the Aurelian cycle, I think this series is called. I read Fireborn, it's over there last month or the month before, whatever. I really liked this. I think I rated it a 4.5. I think I liked it just a little bit more than the first book, which is great. The series is basically about these two young people who are dragon riders, which is like the highest point of society in their society, and this society is a recent, in the last like 20 years kind of thing, has been built up after a rebellion. So the rebellion happened, brought in this new society. These people are dragon riders, which is like the top of that society, and then like it goes down from there for like, it's like gold, who are like scholars, and then it's like iron, who are like skilled workers, and then bronze, unskilled workers, something like that. So this new rebellion has come in and put in this system, which is supposedly better than the previous system. The previous system was basically just like a monarchy scenario, but with dragon rulers, I think they were called. I don't know, whatever. I can't really tell you anything that happens since it's the second book in the series, but really, really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed the series so far. I'm excited to finish it off probably this month. The romance is lacking. Like, it's really not, I'm not reading it for the romance. It's not giving me much of anything. I feel like this series could be a 5-star series if it had a good romance, because all of like the rebellion and the political stuff I found really, really interesting, but romance is lacking. But love the dragons. I love anything with dragons, and yeah, it definitely kept me very engaged, even if it was like in an angry, like frustrated way, because I did get very angry and frustrated with characters at times and felt like the injustice of things. Like, I hate in a book when people get angry, specifically at like the female protagonist in like a fantasy book, for like doing something like a little bit wrong for the greater good. It's like, you are just such a fucking hypocrite. Such a hypocrite. Like, it actually drives me insane. Then I read another Kindle book. I read A Taste of Poison by Sandra Odette. That is the 4th book in the Entangled with Fae series. I have every book in that series, even the 5th one, except for this one. I think I just accidentally bought the 5th one before the 4th one, and then was gonna read the 5th one since I had it, but then read what the 4th one was about and it sounded more interesting. So A Taste of Poison is obviously a Snow White retelling, and the whole concept is her, can't remember her name, it's like Astrid Snow, I think, I don't know. Her father has just been murdered. The queen, who was married to her father, thinks it was her, so she runs away. She's also got this power, can't remember what it was like, so she runs away, and the queen has the huntsman go after her. Now, Entangled with Fae has all these fairy situations. Everybody's a fairy, everybody's some sort of fairy situation. The huntsman has 2 forms. He is either like a humanoid form or he is a bear. But basically the huntsman is coming to get her. You can imagine what kind of happens from there. It was fine. I really loved the first book in this series, and I haven't really enjoyed the ones continuing through it that much. I don't know why. Actually, I do. I think it's very, very wordy and like over descriptive. Like, one little situation will be described for pages and pages, and it's just too much. And like the same like point being spoken again and again. And it's like, I heard you the first time you said it. You don't need to tell me again and again, because I'm trying to read it, I'm trying to be engaged, but I'm bored because you've just said that to me, and I'm ready to move on and you're telling me again. It was fine. I feel like I rated like a 3.5. Maybe. After I read A Taste of Poison, I picked up this book, Night Shift by Annie Crown. I read this in one night, by the way. I picked this up, I don't know if I ordered it from Amazon or I picked it up from the works or something. I saw the cover, and for some reason I just was like, oh yeah, I want that. And then when I actually bought it and like read it, the blurb, and like read the first page, I was like, why did I buy that? Nothing against this book or anything, but I was like, that's just so random for me. Like, this isn't the kind of book that I would usually buy. Like, I'd read this if it was on Kindle Unlimited as like a little filler. Like, I wouldn't buy it. Was just random, really random. So I picked it up because I thought, why not? Let's just read it. Obviously read it in the night, like I said. Okay, but the reason I read it in the night was because I was reading it like this. Like, I just was like really skimming, getting the bare bones idea of what was happening, just kind of reading the dialogue and then moving on. It was like entertaining for that one night, but I'm never gonna think about this again, like ever again. So yeah, it's basically about a girl called Kendall who works in her like library at school, and she works the night shift, and she's a romance reader. She's like reading like spicy books on shift and stuff, and then this basketball player comes in and is looking for a book. They end up snogging just immediately, really random, and then like yeah, that's about it, to be honest. That is about it. I'm not gonna say it was fine because I don't think it was very good, but I read it, so that's gotta mean something. I don't know. I can't believe that this is the next book I read after that. This is not adding up. Maybe I took like a few days off of not reading, because the next book I read was Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. That feels like a million years ago. This feels like yesterday, so that's weird. Before we get started, Ali Hazelwood is my favourite author. When it comes to a romance book, Ali Hazelwood every single time. I don't get excited for a new release, like any new release, like I get excited for an Ali Hazelwood book. I just love it. I don't know what it is, but it just does it for me every single time. Except for I didn't love Bride that much, but that is besides the point. So this was her new release. I was very excited but slightly nervous when I like read what it was about when I was first like pre-ordering it. It's basically about this girl, Rue, who is I think she's an engineer, biotech engineer, and she works for a food science startup kind of place, I think. And everything kind of starts happening in the book when there's a hostile takeover happening from this group. I can't remember what they're called, like Hartwell or something. This group of like people, and one of the people in this group is Eli. I was calling him Ellie the whole time, which was so annoying, but I feel like his name's Eli. Eli, who she just so happens to have like met for a hookup recently, but I don't think they did hook up. I can't remember, but they have a lot of like connection and chemistry. Like it's so immediately off the bat, I was like, oh, so we're kind of starting off with like a physical connection. And even like Ali put in the start of this like a little like disclaimer of this is more of like an erotic romance than a rom-com, like, and I was like, oh, I don't know about that. I like love my Ali Hazelwood rom-com, like I'm kind of sad. To get to the point, I rated this 5-star. It was so good, guys. I was so scared that this was just going to be a physical connection. It wasn't at all, in my opinion. Obviously there was a very strong physical connection going on, but there was all of the other like cute moments that I wanted and I needed. I felt like the connection went so far past physical. It was like a personality, and like you could just feel how much Eli really like cared for and admired and respected Rue, like off the bat. It was just great. And also like the storyline behind the romance, like what was going on with the companies, I found really interesting. It was almost like a little bit of like a mystery kind of like, oh, who did what kind of thing, which I was really loving. This was amazing. Like Love Theoretically is my favorite Ali Hazelwood book. These are kind of like maybe Love Theoretically slightly higher, but pretty equal. Like I really loved this. Can't wait to reread it. Can't wait for her next book. She just devours every single time. What are we gonna do? Someone needs to lock her up. It's actually ridiculous. So when I finished Not in Love, I had read a little bit of it on audiobook because I didn't want to put it down. Like I was going places, like I didn't want to put it down. I wanted to read it on my walk. I wanted to read it at the gym. I just needed to keep reading it. Listen to the audiobook, was like, oh, now I want another audiobook. So what I did is I picked up Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score, and I listened to this pretty much fully on audiobook. This book has been sat on my TBR for a very long time because I loved the first book, Things We Never Got Over. Like, I rated that a 5-star when I read it. Things We Hide from the Light, the second book in this series, didn't love as much. I was so scared about this book because not only is it 600 pages, a 600-page romance, crazy. Not only is it 600 pages, but I'd heard like not amazing things. So I was like, okay, I'm scared. I don't know about that. But previous to that, I'd been very excited about the release of this book because it was about Sloane and Lucian, who we've seen in the previous books and I really loved. Sloane is the local librarian of this like little town that we're following. And then Lucian doesn't really live in the town. I think he grew up there, but now he's like this big business guy. And they have like a enemies situation. I think it was like childhood friends to kind of little bit maybe lovers, not really, to enemies to lovers. That is what we were doing here. I listened to the audiobook. Actually, I think I started reading it. I might have read like 50 pages and then I picked up the audiobook. Didn't love the first 50 pages that I read. Started really kind of getting into it a bit more with the audiobook. I was like, okay, the audiobook is definitely better than the reading it. And then by like 200, 300 pages in, I was really, really enjoying it. I ended up quite liking this. I think I rated it a 4 because I had to acknowledge that the first, like, I was not into it at first. I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna just DNF this. But by the end, I had a pretty good time. I really loved Sloane and Lucian together, especially like by the end. Once he'd decided that like he wanted to be with her, he basically just went, oh no, we're together. Like, I'm not leaving. Like, okay, bring all the stuff into her house, thank you. Well, like, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, I don't know what you're talking about. And real life, that's crazy. I love that in books. I love that. That's just so good. Him just being like, oh no, because we're together now. Did no one tell you? Yeah. So if you haven't read it and you're scared to read it like me, maybe try the audiobook. I really liked it for an audiobook and very happy to have this off my TBR now. This is like a serious TBR veteran for me, so that felt like an accomplishment. Then after that, I was still really loving my audiobook, so I was like, okay, what's another book that's been sat on my TBR for a while that I could read like half audiobook, half physically? Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I heard great things about this when it first came out. Same about the first book in this like interconnected situation. When in Rome, people really loved, and people really loved the second. I didn't love When in Rome that much. It felt very like average romance for me. I don't know if I liked this one more, maybe a tiny bit more, but I just really enjoyed the audiobooks and I was in a good reading. I was in a good audiobook zone, so I really enjoyed the audiobook. This is about Annie, who is a florist in her small town. It's another small town romance, and she ends up having this like, it's almost like a teaching you how to date kind of situation with Will, who is the bodyguard of the pop star in the first book. So he's come in and basically been like, okay, I'll teach you how to date. We'll go on like fake dates kind of situation. It's not really fake dating. It's more like learning how to like date. I don't know. Whatever. I really liked this. It was really fun. It was sweet. It was cute. I listened to the first half on audiobook and then like I finished the last bit off just reading it. I think I ran out maybe of my audiobook. I don't know why I did that, but I did. I don't really remember that much about it. It's not something that's like stuck with me, but I do enjoy this like small town situation. If there's more books in this series, which I feel like there might be, I will probably pick those up. Okay, so after that, I picked up another audiobook, and before I tell you what it was, I need to preface this by saying I was watching Bridgerton at the time that I was reading Practice Makes Perfect. Actually, I was reading it maybe while I was reading Things We Left Behind as well, but I'd just been watching Bridgerton and I was obsessed. Especially the last season, I rewatched that the day after I finished it, which is interesting because I can also acknowledge that was not the best season. Definitely not, but I just really love Penelope, so I just wanted to see it again. They definitely could have done her more justice, like her and Colin's romance, but still really loved it. So I was like, okay, I need like a Regency romance, like that's what I'm wanting, but I want an audiobook because I just want to go walk my dog like in circles for hours and listen to this Regency romance. So I debated picking up a Bridgerton book, but I just wasn't sure. Like I was like, okay, do I just skip to Penelope's book because that's kind of all I'm really interested in right now? Or do I start from the beginning of The Duke and I? But like, do I really care? So what I decided to do first is, okay, I found this I found a Regency audiobook on Audible that was like included in Audible. It was free, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna read this first. If I enjoy it, maybe I'll consider reading Bridgerton, because I've never really read a Regency book. Like I wanted to like get the vibes. It was called, what was it called? Project Duchess by Sabrina Jeffries. Yeah, it was free on Audible. If you got Audible, you could go listen to it. And I think I listened to it in one day. Like I just like had my headphones in listening to it all day. While I was listening to it, I was definitely enjoying it once I'd finished it, and probably actually like the second half of it, to be honest. I was like, okay, that wasn't amazing. Like that was like listenable, entertaining, but it wasn't very good, I guess. It's basically about this duke who, his stepfather was just like died, potentially was murdered, whatever the situation. So he goes back home. There's lots of intertwining parts. Like his mum has like 3 husbands that have all died, and like a bunch of kids. I think the rest of the books are about all these like different dukes, because all of her kids are dukes. It's really like crazy. But he goes back for the funeral and to kind of like deal with the family situation. Gets there, and one of his brother's cousins, but they're not related, see what I mean, is there, and she's like helping the family, and his mother's planning on helping her learn how to be in society, because she never had like a coming out in society to find a husband, and she wants to find a husband now. She's like 26, so she's kind of old for the market. And he's like, oh well, I know all about that, so let me help. And then they just really fancy each other like crazy. And yeah, it was like not good, but it was good. Like I was entertained to read it. I wouldn't have been able to physically read it, but injecting it straight into my ears was fine. So after that, still wanted more audiobooks. So I was like, okay, what's my favorite audiobook? My favorite audiobook is an Ali Hazelwood audiobook. All my Ali Hazelwood rereads, I've just listened to the audiobook because they're just the best. So I decided to pick up Check and Mate because I haven't listened to that one. It was incredible. I probably even enjoy the audiobook more than physically reading. Specifically this one and Love on the Brain. Those two are great audiobooks. It's like a 4.5, 4.75, really just incredible. I love this book. It's about this young girl, Mallory, who's like breadwinner for her family situation. Like she's in, you know, she's not going to college because she feels like she has to stay and look after her sisters and her mum. But she's like this chess prodigy, or at least she was when she was younger. And her friend gets her to play in this like chess tournament, and she ends up winning against this guy who's like the best chess player in the world, and he's like 21. Like they're like similar ages, and we just go from there. It's just so cute and I love it. I really love it. And my favorite parts of Ali Hazelwood books are all the like little nerdy, like I shouldn't even say nerdy, but you know what I mean, like the little chess bits and like the science bits. Like I just love it. It's just so like makes me interested in chess and science, which I'm not. So there you go. After that, I did pick up a physical book, finally. Nothing More to Tell by Karen McManus. I love a YA mystery. If you don't know that about me, now you do. I feel like they're my like filler books that I know I'm gonna enjoy kind of regardless. I was a little bit nervous about picking this one up because I've never read anything by Karen McManus before. So I thought it would be a good idea to get a standalone rather than going into her One of Us is Lying. I don't know if it's a duology or a trilogy or whatever, but I just thought that would be better for me. This was fine. This was like a 3-star, and honestly, I just really enjoy a YA mystery. If this wasn't a YA mystery, I probably would have DNF'd it, wouldn't have liked it, because I found the writing to not be amazing. I feel like things just were not like threaded through in the plot. They were just like plopped down in front of you, and it was like, oh, okay, that's what it is now. So like, I'm not really the kind of person who reads a mystery and wants to like slowly try and figure it out and like beat the book. But I don't think you'd even be able to really do that with this book, because I don't think it had that like intertwined, like things would just kind of like I said, get plopped in front of you with no real like, and like things would happen which were just obviously just to move the plot along, which anything that happens in a book is to move the plot along, but you don't want me as a reader to feel like that. Like, I should just feel like that's the natural progression of the story. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It was fine, but it just didn't do anything for me. It's like your standard teacher gets killed at a school, favourite student wants to figure out what happened situation. The kind of like different interesting thing about the book is this girl Bryn's ex-best friend Trip was one of the 3 students that found this teacher, and she's now working with a true crime podcast to try and like figure out what happened to him. But to be honest, the whole podcast thing didn't really get like intertwined that much either, so I don't know. It was fine, but I didn't love it. Then I listened to the audiobook. I listened to the audiobook of this, The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This again has been on my TBR for quite a while, and I always kind of knew I wanted to listen to the audiobook because, as you can see, it's like a radio podcast kind of situation, so I felt like it would be a better experience, and I definitely think it was. I mean, I didn't read it, so I can't say for sure. Well, I didn't physically read it, but I definitely think I would recommend listening to the audiobook, because there's like little like sections in it that kind of like are like a radio show, so it's better to listen to, I think. This follows Shay, who has been working at a Seattle radio station for like a decade, but you can kind of tell pretty quickly she's kind of like underappreciated. She doesn't really like put herself out there to like go for bigger things. Like, I think she works as a producer, but she would love to be on air. And what ends up happening is this new guy is kind of like coming in and getting a lot of attention. Like, he's like gotten on the radio, blah blah blah. So she's like doesn't really like this new guy, and then they have this meeting, and they're like, okay, we need new show ideas, and she, as a joke, is like, oh, what about a show hosted by 2 exes? And everyone's like, oh, that was a good idea. And she's like, oh, slay, that was a good idea, cool, great. And then the big boss man is like, you two don't like each other, you two have great like banter, like chemistry, like the way you go back and forth is really funny, you two are going to be the exes. Yeah, and then that's that. I really liked it. I thought it was a really fun audiobook. That's about it. I don't really have anything else to say. I don't think I would have liked it that much if I read it, though. That's pretty much what I have to say on that. And the final book I'm going to talk to you about, I'm currently reading right now, is the 27th of June today, so I feel like I'm like just under halfway through probably. I should hopefully finish this like by the end of June, or just before the end of June. So I am rereading the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. St. Abbey. Reading the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. I read this like a year ago, maybe a bit more than a year ago, like quite close to when I first started reading. Really loved it. It's like such a different, fun story. It's basically these 5 novellas. They're all on Kindle Unlimited, by the way, so you can go read them. And like they've been made into like a bind up of like, it's like a 700-800 page book, and it's so good. It's about this female serial killer, and she starts dating this FBI agent who's like on her case. He's like trying to figure out her crimes. It's crazy, it's so good, and you just like root for her so hard, which is like kind of wild because she's a killer, but you know what I mean, like they got what they got what they deserved. Yeah, I love it. It's so good. I think I'm on the 3rd book, chapter 4 of the 3rd book. How many pages are in this one? 139. Like, they're all around I think the most that one is 200 pages or like 170 pages, something like that. So good. If you haven't read it, I would really recommend it. It's such like a nice like difference from just a standard romance, and also has like a really good romance if you enjoy like a mystery thriller situation but you wish that there was some romance in it. This is so good. And if you like dark romance in general, you'll really enjoy this. If you haven't read it, I'm sure you have read it. I feel like everybody's read it. Rereading that and I'm loving it. But that is it. Those are all of the books I've read this month. If I'm going to include a TBR section, that's going to come in now. Okay, I'm back. I decided in honor of the Taylor Swift concert that I just went to, I would do like one of these, if you just look up on Pinterest, you can find like Eras Tour reading challenge or Taylor Swift's reading challenge, whatever, and you'll get like a song or an era and then like a prompt that's related. So I'm just gonna, I've made a playlist on my iPad so you can see, and whatever song comes on, I'm gonna try and find a book that relates to the prompt of the song. Yes? We understand? Yes. Okay, first song. Shut up. Gorgeous. Okay, Gorgeous is a book bought solely based on the cover. Okay, I have a book. This was hard because I actually don't really have many. I feel like when I buy books for the cover, I read them pretty quickly, which is interesting. But I picked Clockwork Princess, not for the cover, but for the spine. I really wanted these like spines that have the people. The Mortal Instruments ones are even better because they don't have these blue things, but I really love how like when you line up these books, it all has these little characters on them. So kind of for the cover. I mean, you see this more than the cover. So we have Clockwork Princess. Okay, ready for is most anticipated release of the year. Let's see what releases we have coming out in July. We can just do a July release. Okay, we have Reckless coming out in July. That's a really good one. Dishonestly Yours by Krista and Becca Ritchie is out July 4th. Okay, I have July 2nd written down, but that's pretty much the same thing. Okay, so either Dishonestly Yours or Reckless I could put for this. What do we think? Let's go with, I was gonna say let's go with Reckless, but am I sure that I'm gonna read Reckless? Like, I'm not that excited about it. I didn't love Powerless that much. Like, it was good, but I'm not that excited about it. I'm kind of really excited about this new Krista and Becca Ritchie book. I think I'm gonna put Dishonestly Yours by Krista and Becca Ritchie because I'm really excited about this release. I need to actually pre-order it, like, now. I can see you staring, honey. Okay, Exile featuring a dual POV. People are so good because that's so like correct for Exile. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna have to like go into these books and have a look. I have Fury Song here, which I definitely want to read this month, and this has multiple POVs. And then I have Taming 7. This is definitely multiple POVs as well, right? These are all multiple POVs. Now, I'm not sure because people haven't been that obsessed with this book, so I'm not sure if I want to pick it up. I know I'm going to pick this book up, so I think I'm going to go with Fury Song. This is feeling kind of a dark TBR right now, visually. Although I haven't got Dishonestly Yours yet. That would brighten it up. But yeah, so far we have Clockwork Prince, Dishonestly Yours, and Fury Song. I walk through the door with you. Okay, All Too Well, we have main character getting over a breakup. That is really specific. I don't know if we're going to be able to find that, but I'm going to look. Okay, I have Reckless here by Elsie Silver. This is like the 4th book in the Chestnut Springs series, and if I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure that the main character in this book, we meet her in like the first book. She's the girl in the first book's sister, I think. I think her name's Winter. I think she's just gotten divorced. So, getting over that toxic marriage situation. I think that counts. Cool, Reckless. This, I need to finish the series because I have the books. I need to finish them, but the only book in this series that I've really liked was Heartless, the second one. So, we'll see how I feel about that. Who knows? Fever dream high in the quiet of the night. Okay, Cruel Summer. So we have takes place in summer. That's a really good prompt for this time of year, but I don't really have many summer books. Let me see if I have anything physical. I really don't have anything. Let me do a little bit of new release or whatever searching. Okay, so I've been kind of wanting to read The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. Kind of in between that and the new Annabelle Monaghan book. There's also like a few other books like the new Carly Fortune book, but I have not read any of Carly Fortune books. I've not heard anything that's made me want to read any Carly Fortune books. I also am kind of interested in reading the rule book by what's her face? That was rude. By Sarah Adams, but I don't know if that takes place in summer. So I think I'm gonna go with The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I'm gonna order that. I'm gonna order both of the books I need. Go. Here's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar. I'm gonna do that after every single one. Only thing that keeps me wishing I'll never wishing done. Okay, we have Unrequited Love for Teardrops on My Guitar. That's really specific. Okay, shit. I'm avoiding this book because I didn't really want to pick it. It's kind of a... I'll explain why I don't want to pick it. But it's come up for too many prompts and like it's perfect for too many prompts. So I think it's a sign. Once Upon a Broken Heart, I have the entire trilogy. I got all the hardcovers for Christmas because they are so gorgeous. I needed them. I'm sure this starts with an unrequited love situation. Yeah, for as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in happily ever after until she learns that the love of her life is about to marry another and her dreams are shattered. Unrequited love. Yeah, I haven't wanted to pick it up because I'm in the middle of a couple series, and specifically like fantasy series, I like to try and just like read them not one at a time but spaced out, like especially like I anticipate liking this, so I like to like read it without any other fantasy series and like characters I really love like clouding my mind. But I can probably finish, I've got 2 series on here that I can finish off and then maybe get into this. And I think summer might be a good time to get into this. Yeah. Cool. Somebody that I don't know. Okay. Oh, You Need to Calm Down. Overrated book. Okay, wow. That's an interesting one. How do I know if it's overrated? That doesn't feel fair. I'm skipping that because that doesn't feel fair. I don't want to say that a book's overrated. People might get angry at me. Don't you? A sequel. I'm already reading a bunch of sequels. Okay, that's already been covered. Try again. Try again. Oh, uh-oh. Long story short. Is that going to be a short story? I don't fucking have one. Long story short, book with 500 plus pages. No, it's not a short story at all. What? Crazy bitch. 500 plus pages. Okay, let's see how many pages. This has 500 plus. Are we going to put Taming 7 on and just like get it done? That might be a good choice. I also have a bunch of Illumicrate books I want to get to. Okay, that's under 500 pages. Shall we just go with this? Okay, I'm just going to go with this, put it on. If I don't read it, who gives a shit? So here we are. This is my TBR plus Dishonestly Yours and The Paradise Problem. We have Clockwork Princess, Fury Song, Reckless, Once Upon a Broken Heart, and Taming 7. This is a very fantasy heavy TBR, but actually pretty well-rounded. We've got a couple romances going on. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know how many I'll get to because I'm more of a mood reader than anything else. TBRs aren't really something that I stick to, but I do like having a little bit of guidance. Like if I really don't know what I want to read, it's good to have like a smaller selection. So there we go. That is about it. I've already said goodbye, so I'm going to send you back to past me to say goodbye. Bye-bye from me now. thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. If I could recommend any book to you from this month, I would say Ali Hazelwood's new book, Not in Love, and then the Aurelian Cycle series, which Flamefall is part of. Fireborn is the first one. I would recommend that. Really good if you liked Fourth Wing. Yeah, that is it. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.